somehow or other, however good a chance it is, you know he's going to find a way to miss it. Really, he is the goalkeeper, or So I weren't happy when I saw Gordon starting up front, and even on the first game of the season against Villa, I was screaming out for Asula to start.
Yeah.
He's shown some bright, he's a natural striker. He's shown some bright touches when he's played. He's looked lively. And Eddie Howe, for some reason, I don't know what it is, I know he's got his favourites and that, but he seems really against playing the likes of Asula and Lewis Miley, and he don't seem to have trust in the younger players.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, great call. 03717 223344. And the other point to that is as well, like, for me, just play Volterman. He had cramps after the Wolves game. He was absolutely knackered, but just play him for 45 minutes even, because Newcastle will be at their most energetic, at their best, running Barcelona ragged at the start of that game.
But there's a lot of positives. Like Alex's call,
for
Alex's
sure.
call is correct.
Yeah.
Like it is spot on. Like there was some sumptuous football played by Newcastle. And you look at the quality of the goal. I know it came too late, but the quality of the goal, the incisive passing, the crisp finish. Like basically, we're sorry to say it, but with Alexander Isak, you probably win the game.
Who?
With a centre forward, you probably win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Spurs against Man City in the WSL has just got underway, so Ian Abrahams will keep us updated on that throughout the evening. But next, we're going to continue to look at the return of the Champions League.
First one on air, on radio, on newspaper, on Instagram if I have to say.
Score, it just goes
It's
off.
the only place where it's acceptable to play music off the back of scoring a goal.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine there because you know it'll be an absolute banger. Let's get into some of the other Champions League games. We'll chat about your Chelsea in just a moment, but it was a good win for Manchester City last night as well. They beat Napoli 2-0, and that's a big test, I think, as well. I know they were at home, but, Napoli coming into this, Italian champions, they're kind of, I mean, it's strange to say this, they feel like the hipster's choice for me to maybe win the whole thing, despite the fact they're the champions of Italy. It's just because they're not one of the kind of heritage clubs, are they?
Yeah, it's very difficult for them to win it, but I think what it is they're capable. They've proven they've won it. They've won the league in Italy 2 out of 3 seasons, and they have an excellent manager. I appreciate that he's not an excellent European manager, but Antonio Conte is truly a great manager. Like, he's honestly one of the best managers that Chelsea have ever had. That season following Chelsea, the year that he took us from 10th in the league to the top, one of the best seasons following Chelsea ever. And I don't think you can think of an example. Play a game with me.
Go on.
Can you, or anyone, think of an example of a team winning the league where it is so clearly down to the manager's brilliance? Like that Chelsea team won the league. You saw what happened. We were getting beaten. We lost to Liverpool. We lost to Arsenal. We're at half-time against Arsenal. We're 3-0 down. He changes the system.
Yeah.
The manager reinvents the system. He sort of redefines what we're about. We, off the back of that redefinition,
Are you talking
we won 14 games in a row. That Chelsea team were not champions on paper. We were champions because the manager worked out a system that made us totally unplayable.
Leicester City.
No, Leicester City wasn't about Ranieri. It was about the brilliance of Mahrez and Kante and Vardy.
Yeah, he set them up well, though, didn't he?
No. Don't try and defend your wrong shout.
One man we have to chat about is Erling Haaland, of course, because he's now got 6 in 5 for Man City so far this season. He's got off to another brilliant start. But the former Watford striker, Troy Deeney, doesn't think that Norwegian is better than the Brazilian Ronaldo.
He's not in R9's category.
He's not, even though he scored all those goals?
Doesn't matter. And anyone who plays the game will tell you the same thing.
Why? Just explain to us why.
Because R9 could do everything. Yeah. There's nothing he couldn't do. He could get the ball from midfield and run past. And again, not to compare generations, but when people could actually tackle and take you out, he's skipping past these people. 2 knee operations, still doing that. Going to Man United in the Champions League, scoring a hat-trick and getting clapped off. There's just levels to what these people were doing.
Yeah, I think we both agree with Troy Deeney there.
Troy Deeney, it's the least controversial thing that's ever been said on this station. That Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, is a better player in every metric than Erling Haaland. In fact, I'd go further. I don't think they play the same sport.
No,
I don't think they play the same sport.
That's a bit harsh.
No, the disparity,
that's a bit harsh.
The disparity in terms of what R9 was about compared to what Erling Haaland was about.
Don't play the same sport.
They don't play the same sport. They really don't. The way that Ronaldo would play the game, the grace and the majesty with which he would score goals, the variety that he would score goals, the pomp and the circumstance around the way that he would play football, it's incomparable. Erling Haaland is a very good footballer, no doubt about it. He's an elite level goal scorer, no doubt about it. But that's the end of it. That's the end. If you want to compare Erling Haaland to footballers, you don't compare him to the likes of of R9, you compare him to the likes of the likes of Jamie Vardy.
Can we just talk about Erling Haaland's goal scoring though, and the figures that he is putting up? Because it doesn't seem to me like this is enough of a conversation. It's, as a Newcastle fan, it's not one that I'd love to have, but the fella's on 90 Premier League goals already. He's 25. I mean, we sometimes talk about, maybe Harry Kane will come back from Bayern and try and break that record. Surely this man is heading towards breaking that.
Yeah, no, he'll break the record, but we need to be a bit cleverer than simply looking at the numbers and suggesting that the person with the most amount is therefore the best. That isn't how football works. It isn't that simple. It isn't, he scored more goals than him, therefore he is.
Are you not the best goal scorer, though? Surely
No, look, Ronaldo, R9 Ronaldo, is arguably the best to have ever done it. Erling Haaland isn't even the best doing it at the moment.
Do you think it's a certainty though that he does break that record?
Yeah, he breaks it. In the Premier League record, the 260 Shearer?
Yeah.
No, I actually don't think he'll break it.
You don't? Why?
No, because I don't think he'll be here long enough. I think he's capable.
You think he'll move abroad?
Yeah, I think my prediction is that when I have very good Erling Haaland predictions. My prediction is that Haaland doesn't break it because he leaves,
right,
and that Kane comes back potentially to Tottenham and does break it.
If he stays, he breaks it then.
Yeah, like R9 Ronaldo is comparable to the very best footballers to have ever lived. In terms of centre forwards, you talk about George Weah, Marco van Basten, and then you talk about R9.
What category is Haaland in for?
Haaland isn't even the best in the Premier League.
So which strikers are you putting him next to then?
You can talk about Haaland, you can have a conversation about Haaland, and you can say, where does he rank in the pantheon of great Premier League strikers? And he's probably in the top 5, definitely in the top 10. But he's nowhere near the top. He's not better than Harry Kane, is he, at the moment? So he's not the best to do it at the moment. He's not better than Alexander Isak.
There's an argument to... I think he is better.
Oh, yeah, now he is. Look, you changed your tune, didn't you?
Yeah.
6 months ago, you weren't saying this.
Did you see his debut, though? Stinker. Absolute stinker. No, but I think Haaland at the moment is just from what he's achieved so far with Manchester City.
He's not even... There's not one
argument with Kane,
he's better than Kane.
There's an argument with Kane, for sure.
Harry Kane is better than Erling Haaland at every aspect of being a centre-forward, apart from maybe pace. There isn't another aspect of being a centre-forward where Erling Haaland outshines Harry Kane.
But mate, the stats do speak for themselves, and that stat is the most important one.
They don't speak for themselves. If you base your footballing opinion on stats, I'm sorry to say this, but this goes out to anybody who bases any kind of football knowledge on stats, you're a mug. Stats are for mugs. They're made for mugs. They're made for people that have never stood in an away end. They're made for people who don't understand football. If it's I agree with you. If it's about stats, how do you quantify heart? How do you quantify leadership? How do you quantify passion? How do you quantify effort?
Mate, but I agree with you when it's things like XG or expected assists. Fine. We're talking about literal goals, mate. Literal goals, and he has already scored 90 in the Premier League.
I could give you so many examples of players who have scored more goals. X has scored more goals than Y. Like Chris Wood has probably scored more goals than Dennis Bergkamp. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Genuinely, Chris Wood has probably scored more goals than Dennis Bergkamp.
Do you know how many Chris Wood?
Probably more than Dennis
89.
Bergkamp. How many?
89 in the Premier League.
89.
Yeah.
If he gets to the 100 club, it's going to do a disservice to that 100. It's going to make a mockery at 100 club.
What a day that's going to be, by the way.
Do you see what I'm saying? Dennis Bergkamp and Chris Wood didn't play the same sport.
It's not the same argument, though, because we're talking about Erling Haaland, who is a very well-established, brilliant, excellent, most people agree, fantastic goal scorer. We're not talking about Chris Wood.
No, but I'm using the
kind of
fairly extreme example to demonstrate that stats don't tell the story.
Okay. Should we chat about your Chelsea then? 3-1 loss to Bayern. Did you? I mean, what were you expecting from that game? Did you feel that Chelsea would be on the end of a bit of a shellacking?
No. Any Chelsea fan that plays away in the Allianz Arena will always start thinking about Roberto Di Matteo, Didier Drogba and Frank Lampard. So we'll always believe that there's an opportunity. We always have a place in that stadium. That stadium belongs to us on some level. We went there in 2012. We played them in a final in their home stadium and we beat them. So, no, I went there fairly confident, but it became apparent very quickly that they're just better than us. Like, Cole Palmer is a genius, a true maverick, and I believe a world-class player. But then what happened was the rest of the team, you could see the deficiencies in it immediately. And basically, Harry Kane versus Tosin Adarabioyo is a mismatch.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to, isn't it? Tosin Adarabioyo is, at best, a sort of Premier League player.
Did any of you as well? I mean, I know this gets brought up a lot. Did any of you those sit there as well and think? And there's some very, very talented players in that Chelsea squad. But you've kind of just said it there that you're lining up, having spent a shed load of money with Tosin at the back in the Champions League?
Because we're not trying to build a team that is capable of beating Bayern Munich. That's not what we're doing. If we were trying to build a team capable of beating Bayern Munich, we would have had Donnarumma in goal and we would have had Mark Gahey at the back. We could have got those two players as the transfer window closed for about 70
It's
minutes.
a squad that won the Club World Cup, though, to be fair.
Yeah, but still, if we wanted to win the league, the consistency that goes with a 38-game season, we would have had Donnarumma in goal and we would have had Mark Gahey at centre-half. We would have also sold Noni Madueke, not something that I'm particularly animated about. Sell Noni Madueke, great. But if you want to win the league and beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League, potentially win the Champions League, you sell Madueke and you use that money and you buy Eberechi Eze. You don't buy Jamie Gittins. We're not trying.
It's just all based on potential, isn't it?
We're not trying to assemble a team capable of winning a league. We're obviously not. So we were beaten in Bayern. We played very well. We were valiant losers. But I see no glory in that.
03717 223344 if you're a Chelsea fan, want to get your views across on the game as well. Let's check in on the WSL. Tottenham taking on Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
And we played for 19 minutes, still Spurs 0, Manchester City 0. Rather underwhelming 19 minutes. Neither goalkeeper has been called into making a save, and no one's really looked like opening the scoring here. But there has been a goal in the other game of the night at Goodison, where Everton are playing the London City Lionesses, who are bottom of the table without a win. And it's the visitors who lead 1-0. Izzy Goodwin with the goal there some 5 minutes ago. But here at Brisbane Road, waiting for it really to heat up in what is quite hot conditions for a September evening in East London, where it is Spurs 0, Manchester City 0.
Take a little holiday trip over there, maybe. Sounds quite nice weather. Cheers, Moose. Right, in just a moment here on talkSPORT, we're going to begin to look ahead to this weekend's Premier League action. Some absolute belters this weekend and a huge one on Sunday as Arsenal take on Manchester City.
What a mouth-watering matchup. And Mikel Arteta's rejuvenated men are being talked about as genuine contenders. Gyökeres pokes it in.
Mikel Arteta once again tries to put one over on his former boss.
I know my team is consistent because when you win 6 Premier Leagues, we have been a machine.
Haaland is there, he taps it in, and City have 2 in 3 minutes.
The greatest drama in the world. This is the Premier League.
You've stirred the pot, Raw. You've stirred the pot with your comments on Erling Haaland, not for the first time. I've got a text here on 81089 from Bert in Millwall. Whilst I agree R9 is better than Haaland, to flip it, Haaland is better at goal scoring. Look at the records. R9 played in all the best teams, so he had all the best players helping him. Madrid, Milan, Barca, Brazil, one of the best ever. You've got to look at Haaland's international record as well. And another one there.
What are you laughing at? I can tell that you're about to say something because you're giggling. When you start giggling, I know there's a problem. I mean,
I've got to read this one. Did Rory just rank George Weah above Haaland? What's wrong with that melt?
I rate it, in fact. I rate it. Absolutely. It's a very succinct, pithy comment. Direct.
Sorry, I had to read
What's
that.
What's wrong with that melt?
Funny. Yeah,
I did rank George Weah above Haaland. Of course, I did.
Go back to the earlier one. What did you make of that? You know, look at the goal scoring, look at the records. This is the thing you seem to have an issue with, is that you want to just base everything on Haaland. You just think he's just a stat machine, whereas actually that is literally what he's being paid to do, mate.
No, what I'm saying is that it just doesn't tell you the entire story. It doesn't tell you exactly who the player is. Simply because X scored more goals than Y doesn't mean that X is a better player than Y. It doesn't mean he's a better centre-forward.
Yeah, but look at the pace in which he's got to those figures. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But take everything into account. For various times in that, he's playing for the best team in the country. He's got Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva behind him. He was nearly matched by Harry Kane when Harry Kane was at Tottenham that year. Harry Kane was at Tottenham, you know, the year that Manchester City won the treble. And don't get me wrong, I think Erling Haaland deserved the Ballon d'Or that year. He was robbed of it. He really did deserve it. But Harry Kane nearly scored as many when he's playing with nobody. He was a one-man team at Tottenham that season. I just don't think that scoring a lot of goals for Man City actually tells you who the best player is. And if you want to make it a broader conversation around Premier League greats, again, I don't think he's a better player, a better centre-forward even, than Shearer. I don't think he's a better centre-forward than Kane. I don't think he's a better centre-forward than Rooney. I don't think he's a better goal scorer than say, Salah. And I think that there are a lot of players who played in the Premier League that are just more like Thierry Henry as a centre-forward versus Erling Haaland. They don't play the same sport. I just think
you're unbelievably harsh on him. Anyway, there has been a goal in the WSL. Spurs taking on Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
Spurs 0, Manchester City 1. Virginio scored the goal for City from the edge of the penalty area. Got a little bit lucky, tried to feather the ball into the box, came off a Spurs defender, straight back to her, and then from literally a step inside the penalty area, she's hit it right-footed into the top corner of the net. No chance at all for the goalkeeper, Kopp, in the Spurs goal. Game needed a goal. It's got a good one as well. Spurs 0, Manchester City 1.
Thank you very much, Moose. Right, talking of Manchester City, big game on Sunday. They visit the Emirates to take on Arsenal. Let's hear from the Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta, who's been talking about whether this match is a big one in a potential title race.
Yeah, it's about winning again and creating, another good moment for us. Consistency, competing against one of the best teams, obviously, in the world, and good test for us to see our level as well.
Now, Arsenal obviously have already lost to Liverpool late on. Brilliant goal from Dominic Szoboszlai. How much importance does that now place on this game and the result against Manchester City? What's the minimum, do you think, for Arsenal?
The minimum for Arsenal is a win.
They have to win.
I think Arsenal have to win. And not only for the 3 points. I think they desperately need the 3 points, especially off the back of what happened at Anfield. But I think they need to win to make a statement. Sometimes, particularly when you are the challenger, you have to make some noise. You have to go and claim a title. I was listening to an episode of The Overlap and Roy Keane was talking about this. I thought it was so spot on. You have to go and win it. What Mikel Arteta seemed to try and do at Anfield was not lose it. And his record of late suggests that they tried to not lose the title, and trying to not lose it won't allow you to win it.
Yeah,
they need to demonstrate to the rest of the world, to the rest of the Premier League, that they are capable of a knockout blow. And they did it. They did it to Manchester City last year. So they should be very confident. They're a better team than City, I think. I think that Arteta is on the crest of a wave. I think he's done some brilliant things at the club. They're totally capable of winning. They also played, I don't know how relevant you think this is, but Manchester City played yesterday. Arsenal played ages ago. So they should be a little bit more fresh. they're at home. I think there is no other result that is acceptable to Arsenal if their ambition is to win the Premier League, which I'm assuming it is. Than victory. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you're right to point out there is a lot of spice to this game, isn't it? When you think about that 5-1 last season and you had the Lewis Skelly celebrations as well. And I'm really
Erling Haaland pretending that he didn't know who Lewis Skelly was. That was a bad moment, wasn't it?
Yeah. You're in for him tonight, aren't you?
Literally pretended that he didn't know who he was. And off the back of that game, they barely won, did they? Wasn't it off the back of that game that they lost 9 out of 11 games?
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. What about if Manchester City do manage to go and either potentially get a point or win? I mean, when you think about that as well, they launched themselves back into the title race. Even this early.
I don't think they will, but if City do beat Arsenal, I think that they're back in it. I think if you're a Liverpool fan, it'd be interesting to hear any Liverpool fans who have an opinion on this. But I think if you're a Liverpool fan, you would far rather be being hunted by Arsenal and Arteta than you would by Pep Guardiola and Man City. Like I think if you are a Liverpool fan, I think on some level you'd rather that Arteta wins this, Arsenal win this, they totally nullify City as a threat for the title, and then it's Arteta versus Slot again. I think Arsenal fans.
Is that simply because of the history of coming second 3 seasons in a row?
If City are chasing you, so if you're leading the charge and you can hear hooves in your ears, right? You can hear the hooves coming behind you, galloping behind you. If that horse is being ridden by Guardiola, I think you're scared. You know what they're capable of doing. Liverpool have probably got PTSD from that season when they hit 97 points, didn't win the league. I think if you can hear the hooves chasing you and it's Arsenal, you're expecting that capitulation to come.
You've already beaten at home as well.
You've already won it up. Exactly.
You are right. They kind of went and tried not to lose rather than try and win.
And it was supposed to be. This is the point in the season where Liverpool is supposed to be weak. They're supposed to be vulnerable. Arsenal couldn't beat them in that moment. So,
do you know what's interesting as well is obviously the fact that Liverpool-Everton is live on talkSPORT. It's the 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. So if Liverpool potentially slip up in that game, it is a derby. That, I mean, their record against Everton is absolutely ridiculous. But I think you're right to say, how many late winners have they had to have so far? Liverpool, it could add so much context to that game too. Yeah, but, if Liverpool don't.
But there's something symbolic that could happen, isn't there? If it goes well for Liverpool, if Liverpool win early on Saturday morning. Symbolically, they're 6 points clear of the chasing pack. 6 points clear after 5 games played. It's ominous.
It is. It's very ominous indeed. Right, Middlesbrough against West Brom, by the way, is about to get underway over on talkSPORT 2. Next up, we'll look ahead to that Merseyside derby, which will be live and exclusive on talkSPORT at 12:30 tomorrow.
Hamilton, now at Ferrari, dares to dream of a record 8th F1 world title. The Tifosi will be hoping the Brits can bring glory back to Italy. To many, Ferrari and Formula One are inseparable. They're the only team in the sport today to have competed in the first World Championship in 1950, are the most successful team in history, and have built some absolutely gorgeous cars. Their first driver's title was won in 1952 by Alberto Ascari. Considered one of F1's most dominant and best-loved champions, he drove the iconic Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. Le Professeur Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Räikkönen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last Ferrari world champion. So, 16 constructors' titles, 7 more than McLaren, and 15 drivers' titles, 4 more than, again, McLaren. Ferrari are truly Formula One's top team. Forza Ferrari.
It is, without doubt, a pivotal moment for them both. It's a City split red and blue, an old-school game. It's the Merseyside derby.
Space opens up, and Salah buries it.
Dewsbury, oh, it's a shot, and he scores, and it's 3-1 to Everton. It is a feisty derby, a test of credentials.
Yeah, big game tomorrow live on talkSPORT. The Merseyside derby, Liverpool against Everton. All the build-up with Reshman challenging from 11 o'clock, and it is live at 12:30. This is Thank Football. It's Friday here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Rory Jennings. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think this is it's a tricky time, I think, for Liverpool to play Everton. Obviously, Everton's record at Anfield is not great. It's not great. They don't usually fare well there, but got their tails up a bit. Couple of good wins this season. I think they're 5th or 6th in the table as well. And one man leading the charge of all of that is of course Jack Grealish.
I love Jack Grealish. I just love Jack Grealish. I think he's brilliant. But everything that you said is completely true. But I don't understand why it's a difficult time to be playing Everton when you're Liverpool.
What do you mean?
Like you said, it's tricky for Everton. They've had some good results and they're 5th or 6th in the league. Yeah, that's all true. But it's a 100% record for Liverpool. It's a 100% record. It's win, 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 win. So it doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't actually matter what's going on with whoever they're playing, because although it's a bad time to be playing Everton, it's a far worse time to be playing Liverpool.
To be fair, though, what have you made of Liverpool so far this season? Because it has been the late show, hasn't it? Every single time. I mean, it's getting ridiculous now. We had the last-minute win over Atletico the other day, but you can go back in pretty much, well, all games that they've played this season. They've managed to win it extremely late. I mean, Newcastle was the 100th minute. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. And other than the Arsenal game, which seems relatively early, in the 83rd minute, the Szoboszlai scored that free kick. You know, they are having to kind of rely at the moment on late goals. How sustainable is that?
It's completely sustainable. Do you know what? If it happened, if you and I were having a conversation off the back of that opening day of the season, the Friday night game against Bournemouth, Semenyo cuts through them late in the game and they find a way. I think that you and I could have discussed that game afterwards, and we could have gone, "My God, Ollie, they were lucky, really lucky," and I think that would have been true. You know, off the back of the second game, the 100th minute at St James's Park, I think that again you could go lucky, but it's happened once before, so maybe it's slightly diluted how lucky it is. By the third game now, you're playing Arsenal, big game, and they get a winner 8 minutes from the end. It's not lucky anymore. It's not lucky. It is due to their brilliance. It is due to their doggedness. It is due to their resilience. It's due to their desperation to win. It's due to their keenness to retain a league title for the first time. Well, first time in the Premier League era, but for the first time since the mid-'80s.
But it's fair to say they haven't been at their best in all of those games. That's more the point I was trying to make.
But it's more worrying for anybody that wants to win the league that isn't a Liverpool fan. It's more worrying that you're saying that they haven't been at their best and they've got a 100% record. It's more worrying that they've already beaten Arsenal and apparently they're not at their best. It's more worrying that they're winning in Europe. It's more worrying that they've won at what could be seen as their hardest away game this season. Considering everything that was going on, a night game against a new rival off the back of a new rivalry in regard to going to St James's Park. If this is them bad, if this is them off form, if this is them finding their feet, they're going to win the league by 100 points. They're going to hit 100 points, aren't they? Because they're going to find rhythm at some point. Arne Slot's going to sprinkle his version of Stardust at some point. Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak and Mohamed Salah are all going to link up at some point. So if this is them when it's not chiming, what is it going to be like when it does?
And they've still got the points on the board. That's almost the point you're trying to make.
And they've beaten Arsenal. They've beaten their biggest rival. And they've beaten Newcastle United away from home. Like, whatever happens now, if you believe that the league title is often won in the mini-league of teams that qualify for the Champions League. So last season's top five, quite often, it certainly was the case at one point, that the mini-league of those teams will ultimately give you the answer to who wins the league. If you believe that to be true, the best that can happen in their head-to-head with Arsenal is that it's a draw. That's the best. So I think that if you're a Liverpool fan, you should be truly over the moon. And what I would say, and it's so important to acknowledge this, it isn't luck. This is sustainable. You know, with just to draw a parallel, the Liverpool version of this, I suppose, is Arna time, right? We're in Arna time. Slottage time.
Oh, good.
Right?
Oh, that's annoyingly good.
But Fergie
who
time.
told you didn't come up with that?
Hey, just on the spot.
No,
like
you didn't.
Mate, off the top of the dome, mate.
There's not a chance.
Mate, off the top of the dome. But with that in mind, Sir Alex Ferguson's version of it, Fergie time, with Manchester United winning European Cups, they're losing a European Cup final in the 91st minute. They win it. They win it. They win the competition. It wasn't luck that Manchester United under Fergie constantly found a way, was it? It wasn't luck.
And do you know what? I think during that game, when Atletico came back from 2-0 down, there was an inevitability about it, and that's where you're right that the team should be weighed. Just one moment. I'll get more thoughts from you in just a moment. We're going to hear from Arne Slot as well. That there has been a goal in the WSL. Spurs taking on Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
Spurs 0, Manchester City 2. Vivian Miedemar, formerly of Arsenal, has got City's second goal. It was a corner, and it was a header at the near post, a back header, which just crossed the line. In fact, Spurs thought they got it off the line, but they hadn't, and the ball had gone over the line to double City's lead. Elsewhere, Everton still trail at Goodison against the London City Lionesses, but here at Brisbane Road, Manchester City are looking good approaching half-time. Spurs 0, Manchester City 2.
It's funny, isn't it? When we talk about that inevitability and that factor of all of this, when teams are now going to be visiting Anfield or playing Liverpool at home, much like Burnley did, frustrate them the whole time, don't you think there's going to be the lingering thought in the back of their head?
This is it. The closer that you get, if you're playing against Liverpool, the closer that you get to a positive result, the twitchier you get, because you know what they're capable of doing. And that twitchiness, it will manifest itself with regard to Atletico Madrid. It will manifest itself in the away end, but it will also manifest itself on the bench, on the pitch. And I just don't understand how this ability that Liverpool have to plunder late goals is being positioned as a weakness. Look, there are two ways of looking at this. Liverpool constantly winning games with the last kick of the game or in the last few minutes. Is it reassuring if you're a Liverpool fan, or is it worrying if you're a Liverpool fan? In my opinion, it is completely reassuring. What do you think?
I want to hear from some Liverpool fans we've had. 03717 223344. Are you worried? Do you feel like it's all been a bit lucky so far? Do you agree with Rory? Should be over the moon about this. And look, if you're winning, you're winning. It doesn't really matter how you are doing it. Let's hear now from the king of slottage time. Arne Slot. I'm going to use that a lot.
Don't use my stuff.
Nah, do you know what?
At least citing me.
You are like a broken, twice a day, you are right. And that is a belter, mate. I'll give you that one. But Slot's been talking about the prospect of Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike playing in the same team.
I consider, of course, because you consider many things, and it depends always on how well they are doing. So if both of them are in the best form of their life, you even consider more of playing them together. But it's also quite clear that we have a certain structure which has mainly been 4-3-3, playing with 3 midfielders. But the amount of time, the end phase of the game, we've played with 2 9s. That has happened quite a lot as well.
Yeah, I can't see Isak starting off that stinker of no, I'm joking. He wasn't bad really, and you can obviously see that he's lacking match fitness because he went on strike and refused to play for his former club. But it's an interesting one, isn't it, in terms of Ekitike, because he has started brilliantly, but actually once again you're kind of thinking about it and going, it is just showing the strength and depth they're now going to have up top. And going back to the summer window, there was a point where, because Ekitike had started so well, people were going, well, do they really need to splash the cash on Alexander Isak? But actually, I think they did, because it just hammers home how much talent they have got up front, gives them even more options.
Also,
it makes complete sense.
Do you know what I think you need to do when you try and answer that question? Is genuinely ask yourself this question first. What's the point of the Isak signing? What are they trying to achieve? If you think they're trying to win the league, I think that you're possibly right. Maybe they don't need Alexander Isak. They could win the league without Isak. Ekitike, maybe without any of them. They have enough goals in the team to win the league. I don't think that's what they're trying to do with the Isak signing. What they're trying to do is something beyond that. It's dynasty-like. They're trying to retain league titles. They're trying to make this an era comparable to the late 70s, early 80s. When you think about that Liverpool team, it was all about icons in the team, wasn't it? Clements, Hansen, Souness, Dalglish. That's why they did so well and won, leagues and European Cups galore. What I think this is, it's their modern day version of that. Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah, Isak, Wirtz. It's more iconic names. So it isn't about winning the league this year. It's about retaining a league, maybe trying to do 3 in a row, which they've never done in the Premier League era. Maybe it's about multiple European Cups, and you can kind of see it, can't you? Szoboszlai, Kerkez, winning the European Cup in Budapest. It kind of makes sense at the moment, and I think that's why they need Isak. It isn't about simply winning the league. It's about dynasty-building signing.
03717 223344. Liverpool fans, what have you actually made of your start to this season so far? So many late winners. I mean, it must be brilliant at the moment, to be fair, to be a Liverpool fan, because you're getting that entertainment in every game, but you're on the edge of your seat. Do you agree with Rory that there's nothing really to worry about? You're getting the points on the board, it's all fine, or is there a small part of you thinking, well, I wish they would just make this all a little bit easier? There's been another goal in the WSL in the game between Spurs and Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
Approaching half-time, probably all over now. Spurs 0, Manchester City 3. Nicolai down the left-hand side, cut in, had a shot on goal, deflected up off a defender, and there was Casprini to head the ball into the back of the net. So it looks like it might well be game, set and match already. Spurs had a 100% record. They won't be keeping that alive tonight, I don't think. Spurs 0, Manchester City 3.
Moots, thanks very much indeed. Just a reminder, once again, Liverpool against Everton is live and exclusive on talkSPORT tomorrow, 12:30 kickoff. Reshbin Chowdhury will bring you all the build-up from 11 o'clock, and there's commentary from Sam Matterface and the former Liverpool midfielder and Everton coach, Charlie Adam. Right, next we're going to look ahead to Manchester United against Chelsea tomorrow evening. Another brilliant game this weekend. And we'll take your calls, Liverpool fans. 03717 223344.
Manchester United, fantastic!
Back to Palmer, he shoots, what a goal! It's fantastic, it's Cole Palmer, take a bow, kiddo!
That's what Man United are. They are a Ferrari, and Chelsea are Red Bull.
You're never short of drama with these two.
Yeah, huge game. Manchester United against Chelsea this weekend as well. I mean, it's a huge one, that, isn't it? Once again for Manchester United, just one win so far this season. We'll come on to that in just a moment, but we were asking before the break, Liverpool fans, all these late winners, it's very entertaining stuff, but is it worrying you slightly? Let's speak to Ralph. He is a Liverpool fan. We'll come to Ralph actually in just a minute, but it is half-time in the WSL. Spurs taking on Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
Spurs 0, Manchester City 3 for Gino, picked out the top corner midway through the half for City. A lacklustre first quarter of the game, but from then on it's been all City. Miedemar headed in the second and Kaspari headed in the third. That after a shot had been looped up in the air. She headed that in Miedemars from a Greenwood cross. The Spurs, who came into this with a 100% record, facing a first defeat of the season. At Goodison, meanwhile, at half-time, Everton 0, London City Lionesses 1. Izzy Goodwin with the goal there. But here at Brisbane Road, Spurs 0, Manchester City 3.
Yeah, Man City absolutely flying there, and Moose will give us more updates throughout the second half. Let's go to Ralph, the Liverpool fan. Sorry, Ralph, made you wait a bit there. Are you getting a bit worried about these last-minute winners?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. How are you both?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all right. Do you know what? I think I've probably had 5 heart attacks already in all these 5 games, like how it's happened. And forget about, I don't know how I'm going to survive, let alone if we can keep it going. I think it is worrying because we can't keep relying on this. I get what other people are saying, the mentality and all that, yeah, and I think that was built up years ago by Jurgen Klopp, to be honest with you. But in terms of just keep falling behind and then coming back, it's going to catch up on us.
Yeah, are you a bit worried in terms of the performances as well? Because I think especially at the back, obviously there's been a few games where they have been a bit leaky as well.
Yeah, this shows how important Ryan Gravenberch's been for us when he's there. He's so key because without him we don't have that type of player that can be a proper number 6. I know McAllister can do a job, the others can do a job, but not as specific like Gravenberch can. And we have been a little bit dodgy at the back. And look, we've got a new team, so it's going to take time for them to gel. And I don't know how we've done it, winning 5 games the way we have, but
it's almost irrelevant, though, isn't it, Ralph? It's almost irrelevant. This is the point in the season where you should be finding your feet. This is the point in the season where players like Vert should be acclimatising to a new league and a new country, and yet you're still winning games left, right, and centre. You're beating anyone who's put in front of you. Ultimately, it's irrelevant if you can't see how it's going to happen. You're finding a way.
Yeah, true, Rory. I get that. We are finding a way, but this kind of reminds me of a couple of years back when Klopp's last season in charge, and we kept conceding goals and coming back and winning, all the way towards the last 7 or 8 games. And then, remember, we got trounced by Atalanta at home, and then we had a game against Palace.
Yeah.
They scored first at Anfield, and we couldn't come back. And after that, our season just went downhill. Up to that point, we were fighting for the league. And I'm thinking this. Mate,
are you reversing? Are you reversing at the moment? What's going on?
What's going on, mate?
I let it go once. Mate, I thought I was about to be run over by a truck. What's happening? You turning left?
No, but I'm actually stuck in traffic at the moment. But it's the sensors on at the moment. So when it's a car near me at the back, it kind of beeps to help.
Hey, mate, tell him not to tailgate you.
When you don't agree with Rory, it just starts beeping. Most cars have got that feature. It's weird.
Yeah. Every time I speak, it starts beeping. No, Ralph. To be honest, it's a great call, and I do understand, particularly when it's your team, you're going to be slightly concerned. You're going to always view it through a slightly negative lens. But I think the Liverpool fans should just be over the moon. I really do. I don't see it as a failing. I don't see it as a vulnerability. I see it only as a strength. To be winning games that you don't deserve to win is the hallmark of champions.
Ralph, hope your parking goes well and you sort all of that out. Thanks for your call, 03717 22 Let's go to Babesh, who's a Liverpool fan. Babesh, whose side are you on here? You with Rory saying, it's all fine, and actually it's a good sign at the start of the season that you're getting these points on the board?
I think, resilience, mental resilience. Yeah. It's a sign of champions that teams, when you need a goal in the last few minutes, you're turning up with the goods. You're producing what's required. Maybe not in the manner that you really want it to be. 2-0 up, then pegged back, and then having to score again. But it's a sign of champions. Sooner or later, Liverpool going to even it out. And I believe that it's all work in progress anyway, because you have, as we all know, you've got new players adjusting to a new league, new team, teammates, everything. It's all just assimilating and knowing each other's games, which with the players that had just left recently, they all knew each other's games because they'd been there for a few years, So with these lads, it's working each other's game out and then getting the best out of each other. And I've seen Wirtz play. I've studied his game. He is improving. He's getting used to it. And you can see the technical excellence of this lad. And I believe it's like Bergkamp. Bergkamp, for 6 months, a good few months when he first rocked up, pretty anonymous. But then, it clicked in, and as we know, it was sublime. Yeah. And I believe Wirtz is going that way.
Yeah, out of interest, how are you feeling about the derby tomorrow then? Like I said a bit earlier, Everton, pretty decent run of form at the moment. You've got the threat of someone like Jack Grealish. Is there any kind of worries for you there?
Well, I remember Klopp actually making remarks about 12:30 kickoffs. Yeah. Everton have obviously made some astute signings. Liverpool certainly going to have to defend better and certainly do what's required and just play a better game, be more match efficient with the players that have come in and get a few goals early. I think at best it would probably be 2-0 to Liverpool or 2-1.
There you go. Heard it here first from Babesh. Great call, Babesh. Thanks very much indeed. 03717 223344. 12:30 kickoff tomorrow. And I feel like Everton as well. They need to do the opposite of what Arsenal did. I think they need to do what Bournemouth did and just go for it. They need to come out at Anfield and just go for it.
Oh no, they will though. They will. I think David Moyes has worked that out.
Yeah.
If you look at the signings that he made in the summer, I think that David Moyes knows that if you sit back against Liverpool, they will punish you. There's no way that you can sit back and expect Ishak, Salah, Wirtz, Ekitike not to find a way through. You have to go for it. It will be a great game, but I just see no chink in the armour of this Liverpool team. I really don't.
Let's have a quick chat about Manchester United against Chelsea. Ruben Amorim has been speaking today. He was talking about the chat that he had with the United co-owner, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and he talked about exactly what they were speaking about.
New contract. He was offering me a new contract. And no, it's normal things just to show the support, explaining that is a long project. He said many times this is my first season. For me, it's not. But normal things. Spoke with him, with Omar, with Jason, just trying to see all the data around the team. So a normal meeting, and we had several. But in this moment, it's normal. People pay attention to that.
He's at if you don't laugh, you cry stage, isn't he? Saying, yeah, new contract, mate, I reckon, from Ratcliffe. Do you reckon there was a couple of journalists there going, really?
It wouldn't surprise you at Man United, would it? They do seem to reward failure. You think about the season they had last year. They didn't get rid of anyone apart from Haaland. The only person that had to pay with his place in the squad off the back of their embarrassing season, shambolic season, worst they've had in the Premier League, was Rasmus Haaland.
Do you know what's funny as well? I was thinking about this the other day in terms of Tottenham, because they both had that European final. Tottenham managed to win it with Ange. But then you look at the Tottenham summer, and they managed in the end to have a pretty decent transfer window, brought in some really good signings, I think. Thomas Frank became the manager. It's not been the absolute perfect start for Spurs, but it hasn't been bad at all. They've got some good wins under their belt. You can see what Thomas Frank's trying to do. And then you look at Manchester United, and you kind of think, well, you've clung on to this manager where it wasn't working last season. I've seen pretty much nothing from them to suggest that it's going to turn around, despite the fact they've splashed the cash up front. They had so many other areas they needed to splash the cash in. Mate, I've reached the stage, and I'm sure so many Manchester United fans have now as well, where you're just there going, you've got to cut your losses, surely.
Of course. Ruben Amorim is a complete fraud. He is totally out of his depth, and I don't understand.
I think even he thinks that, though. Do you know what I mean? When he's talking about, there's times when I want to quit. There's times when I feel like the job's too big for me.
He's been talking himself out of the job since he got there, really, hasn't he? He's been saying that it's the worst squad he's ever seen and whatever else. So maybe he should do the right thing and the honourable thing and get himself out of the club, because Manchester United...
Well, you think he should walk?
I think he's failing. I think he's failing the club, failing the history of the club, failing the heritage of the club, and failing the fans. So I don't expect him to walk, because I understand there's a lot of money at stake. But I also think that he's massively letting everyone down associated with the club.
Yeah, okay. Well, they're taking on Chelsea as well. That's a tricky game, by the way. It does feel like the kind of one where they might scrape some kind of result.
Do you know what? We always make, regardless of what's going on Man United,
you make them look good.
We make it hard work. We always make it. Like, even last season, they couldn't like beg nor borrow a win last season. We played them when we had everything to play for, and they were focusing on a Europa League. We needed to beat them at Stamford Bridge in order to qualify for the Champions League. They were getting bashed up left, right and centre. 1-0. We got lucky in the end. You know, it could have gone wrong. So no, we do make hard work out of Manchester United, which is a stark contrast. When I was a kid, we used to beat, like, they were winning doubles and whatever else, but we would always beat them. You know, Michael Dubry scoring a winner, Jody Morris scoring against them. We had a great record against Manchester United when I was young. Gavin Peacock scoring winners. Now we're good and we just can't beat them.
Yeah,
can't beat them easily anyway.
Yeah, absolute madness. Yeah, very intriguing one, that, and especially if Chelsea do run away with a big win there. I'm not sure the conversations with Ratcliffe will be about a new contract. Right, this is Thank Football. It's Friday here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Rory Jennings. Up next, we're going to be hearing exclusively from Chris Eubank Jr. Oh, brilliant.
One of my best lines ever.
That was brilliant.
That is genuinely one of my best lines ever.
That was excellent. What a shame that it didn't go out live. What a song, by the way.
This is a banger.
What an absolute banger this is.
Banger. Were you raving to this,
Oh, yeah.
Ibiza?
Oh, big time.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Must have been raining though. No tan.
Really poor weather for this time of year in
Mate,
Spain.
the
Yeah.
lyrics.
Yeah. I've got a bit of colour, I think.
No.
Not at all.
No, none.
You know what? You're actually right.
Slightly
You know,
rouge.
you bounce back into the office and you're expecting everyone to go, oh,
been away?
Been away. Not a single person.
No, nobody
Not
knew.
a single person.
Why would we know?
So annoyed about that.
Hey, you haven't even got sunburn. You haven't even like extended the courtesy of a sunburn. So that at least
embarrass yourself.
Exactly.
At least embarrass yourself. By the way, over on talkSPORT 2 right now, it's Middlesbrough 1, West Brom 0 in the Championship.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Oh, why?
That's good news. My goddaughter, Sophia, she's the mascot today for Middlesbrough.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, and she hasn't been well at all. So it's fantastic news. And I am channeling my inner Middlesbrough fan at the moment because I'm delighted to see them winning, desperate for them to win. Because she's...
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, she's the mascot.
A mascot today?
She's the mascot today, yeah. She was on the pitch before the game. I saw a little picture of her on Instagram on the pitch. So I'll be over the moon if Middlesbrough get a victory here.
What was her name? Sophia?
Sophia
Churchman. Well, best of luck to Borough. And they are ahead. That game is live over on talkSPORT 2. David Strelec with the goal in the 26th minute. Right now, what a treat, because you've been doing a bit of journalism, Mr. Jennings.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. There's a first for everything. There really is. Earlier today, Rory and our very own Ade Oladipo, who was apparently available despite being on holiday, spoke exclusively to Chris Eubank Jr. ahead of his rematch against Conor Benn.
Ahead of the huge rematch where Chris Eubank Jr. is looking to defend his family legacy for the second time against Conor Benn, we are lucky enough to speak to the main man himself. Mr. Chris Eubank Jr. joins us right now. Chris, the last time I saw you, we were playing poker in Monte Carlo. How are you?
I remember that. I'm good. It's a lot more of a hostile environment I find myself here in today. But that is all part of the game. I just had a face-to-face with Conor. We sat down and spoke for about half an hour about quite a few different things. And now I'm speaking to you, gentlemen, about whatever it is you want to ask me.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm going to go straight into the deep end, if that's okay with you. The first question that I want to ask is, I want to mention that magical moment that we had at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, one of the most iconic moments, maybe of British boxing, when the camera finally revealed that your father was going to be in the stadium, going to be in your corner. As we approach this rematch, do we have any clues? Is your father involved in your training camp? Have you spoken? Are we likely to see him on fight night?
Well, I was with him yesterday on my birthday for the first time in 6 years. We had a great day. He doesn't want me to fight. I don't think he wants me to fight in general, not just this particular rematch. I think he thinks that at 36 years old, I should be moving on to different things in this stage of my life. But that is a father worrying about his son. And, you know, he doesn't see the things I'm doing on a day-to-day basis in the gym. You know, I'm still capable. I'm still hungry. I'm still loving dedicating my life to the sport. So retirement is not in my eye line right now. He will be at the fight for this fight. And I would imagine that he will be, I don't know, he was publicly against me fighting in the last fight. I don't see that happening again for this fight.
Chris, it's funny, you mentioned your age, 36, which I think still quite young, considering two guys we saw on the weekend, near a 38-year-old and a 35-year-old in Crawford and Canelo, go wall-to-wall, toe-to-toe for 12 rounds. And as that fight played out, you came to my mind, because I was thinking, surely Chris is thinking about either a Canelo fight, which we all want in the UK. Your name has always been mentioned with Canelo for the last few years, or maybe even a Crawford fight now, because I think he should be at 168 and Crawford's the guy at 168. Is there any play there? Obviously, look, we're here talking about Conor Ben, but surely those two guys must be on your radar.
For sure. I mean, these are the guys at the top of the tree. So after, a big win against Conor again, if the public, if the Saudis, if Turkey Al Sheikh would see it that I was able to face one of these men in 2026, absolutely, I would love the opportunity to get into the ring with either one of those men and test my skills, test my strengths against the best.
Bomac is back now. I love Bomac. I think we all love Bomac. I actually think your performance against Liam Smith the second time around with Bomac in the corner was maybe the best performance of your career. How important is it that Bomac is back? And is it disappointing that there's no longer Jonathan Banks there, who is, again, a top trainer?
Jonathan Banks, an amazing coach, an amazing trainer, amazing person. It was just simply a fact of me and the team wanting a different approach to this fight the second time around. We don't want the fight going 12 rounds. So that means we have to, the best chance of that is to employ a different strategy, have different tactics, have a different mindset on what it is we need to do with Conor Ben in that ring. That's why we brought Bomac in. Me and Bomac are 1-0 when it comes to rematches. We're about to make it 2-0.
Chris, on the build-up to the previous fight, you were fairly dismissive about the threat that Conor Ben were to pose to you. You seemed to think that it was almost a write-off, and you were very confident as you entered the ring. Post-fight, you were quite complimentary about Conor Ben. I think you openly said that he surprised you. He had the fight and the wherewithal that perhaps shocked you a touch. Going into this fight, are you still as confident as you were in that first fight, or did anything that happened in the fight shock you?
I'm extremely confident. Nothing shocked me, but I was surprised, or I wasn't expecting that he would have the grit and the determination that he did. I thought he would quit at the first sign of hardship, of things not going his way. And there was a lot of that in that fight for him. And he didn't give up, which so many fighters these days do. When they know they're not going to win, when they know they're hurt, when they know they're behind on the scorecards, they'll take a knee, or they won't get up off the stool. He didn't do that. So in that respect, I give him his credit.
You've been there and done it, right? Various levels, world level, coming through, British level. Did you find anything out about yourself in those 12 rounds? Like, once you've sort of regrouped and recovered and watching the fight back, did you kind of say, okay, I found out a bit more about me, or did you know you had that anyway?
No, I'm 36 years old. I've been doing this for 22 years. There's nothing that Conor Ben can help me find out about myself that I didn't already know already. I've been in way harder fights. I've been in way harder situations in my life, and I know how to deal with them. I know what I do when I get into those spots. And you guys know too. You guys have seen me deal with the same types of hardships in similar fights over the years, where, it's 12-round wars. I am no stranger to that. I think the fight was more of a surprise for him. He was the one that found out new things about himself in that fight.
Chris, can I ask you, what's different about the preparation for a rematch rather than fighting someone for the first time? Like, surely you know so much about each other already.
That's the difference. It's one of those things where, you shared 12 rounds with somebody, and you have the data, you've downloaded it all, you know the strengths, you know the weaknesses, you know the the limits of the man in front of you. So you have to then use all that information in preparation for round 2 or round 13, if you will. my experience in the game, I think that will benefit me. The fact that I've been doing this for so much longer than him, I know how to capitalize on the things I see and experience on a fighter more than he will. So yeah, I'm looking forward to an even more impressive performance next time around on November 15th.
There we go. Chris Eubank Jr. with Ade Oladipo and our very own Rory Jennings. Really insightful interview there. And I mean, it's a hell of a fight, isn't it? Up against Conor Benn. It's just going to be incredible.
I can't wait for it. I really can't. Like the first fight really did catch the imagination, didn't it? It was one of those moments. I think, in terms of like British boxing history, I think everyone will remember that. I mean, Chris Eubank Sr., when the camera pans to him and he gets out of the cab.
It's so iconic. It's across sport.
It was so good, wasn't it?
He's here.
Is he going to go? Isn't he going to go? It became the story of the fight. Is he going to be there? Is he going to be in his son's corner? What's going to happen here? And then he gets out the cab and he's there, and Chris delivered in front of his dad, which felt kind of symbolic. And yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I just can't wait to do it all again. I really can't wait for the fight. I'm definitely going, and I think it's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. By the way, fight night tomorrow from 10:30 here on talkSPORT. Adam Catterall will be with Gareth A. Davies. They'll be building up to that, and all sorts of other boxing stories as well. Right, in just a moment here on Thank Football, it's Friday on talkSPORT. It's everyone's favourite feature, Too Good, Too Bad. We'll come to that in just a moment. But first, let's get an update in the WSL. It's Spurs against Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
Spurs 0, Manchester City 3, but it should be 4. They had a penalty. Claire Hunt's foul inside the box on Firmino, and it was Bunny Shaw hadn't scored tonight. Miedemar looked like she might take it. Alex Greenwood thought she might take it, but in the end, Bunny Shaw put the ball on the spot and right-footed had a shot saved brilliantly by Kopp in the Spurs goal. But still, City looked more likely to add to their tally of goals here. Meanwhile, at Goodison still, Everton 0, London City Lionesses 1. Could they be on course for their first WSL win ever? But here at Brisbane Road, brilliant penalty save means it's still Spurs 0, Manchester City 3.
Moose, thanks very much indeed. This is Olly Clink alongside Rory Jennings here on talkSPORT. Too Good, Too Bad coming next. definitely you, though. This is Thankful Blitz Friday here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Rory Jennings, Chelsea fan and podcaster. By the way, the new NFL season rolls on with 3 exclusive games this Sunday night on talkSPORT 2. One early on Tuesday morning as well at 6 o'clock on Sunday. It's Houston Texans against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And at 9:30, it's Arizona Cardinals against the San Francisco 49ers. Both those games live and exclusive on talkSPORT 2. On Monday at 1:20 in the morning, Kansas City Chiefs against New York Giants. And on Tuesday at 1:15, Detroit Lions against the Baltimore Ravens. talkSPORT 2, your home of the NFL. So if you're a big fan, you won't miss a moment. Right, it's time for this.
Too good?
Todd Bowley has become our sporting director. The man's never worked in European football before. So the fact that he's now in charge of this recruitment drive fills me a little bit with fear.
Too bad.
Going out and signing with Richarlison, it's huge, isn't it? He will certainly score goals for them.
Yep, this is Too Good, Too Bad, where me and Rory take it in turns to pick out one player we're looking forward to see play this weekend and one who we think needs a performance. There's some really tasty fixtures this weekend as well, and ones that will have big impacts both at the bottom of the table and at the top. So, Rory, let's start on the lighter side. Who are you looking forward to seeing play this weekend?
Cole Palmer against Manchester United. Cole Palmer, I think, really does shine against United. Do you remember a couple of years ago when we beat them 4-3, that moment in the last minute, and he went wild? Obviously, I think he was a Manchester United fan in his youth, Mancunian. I think that there is some symmetry here. Scored an unbelievably cultured goal away from home at Bayern Munich. I think he's a jewel in the crown of this Chelsea team. I think he should be the jewel in the crown of the England team. And playing against Manchester United, when they're in this form, I think he could have the game of his life. What about you?
Well, just on Palmer as well. I just thought the Club World Cup, he was absolutely fantastic. And then it's been a kind of slightly slow start to this season. And then you just saw him at his absolute best. That goal against Bayern was ridiculous. That was him at his absolute best.
Yeah, I mean the ease of the finish as well. You know what I think makes him such a beautiful footballer to watch. And I think Cole Palmer in full flow is my favourite footballer in world football to watch. Just in terms of the ease, the way he uses his body, the way he glides past players, the things that he can do on the ball, the vision. I just think he's a perfect footballer, like truly world class. And yeah, that finish in the Allianz, it was just so good. Did you see his disallowed goal as well?
Yeah,
it was rightly disallowed.
Yeah.
But the ease to just nick it past Manuel Neuer like that, like totally taking him out of the game, getting the angles all wrong, it looked, but then it was so perfect.
There's just a delightful fearlessness from him that
it's also easy, it's also natural. No, he's a remarkable player, and I think he's going to do Manchester United a major mischief.
Yeah, could be an interesting one, that, of course. Now, for me, I'm going to Bournemouth Newcastle on Sunday. I've been allowed to go and cover my own team. Fortunately, my accent doesn't give it away. In fact, I'll probably be confused.
Oh, so I think you meant for Bournemouth.
But I am looking forward to seeing Nick Voltemade. I think it's really interesting with him because I think if Johan Wissa hadn't picked up that injury in the international break, we've seen it a lot, and even in that game last night against Barca, Eddie Howe with new signings like this who are new to the league very much likes to bed them in. He did the same with even Bruno Guimaraes when we were battling relegation. He did similar with players like Tonali as well once he'd come back from his ban, etc. You can go through most of our signings and that's what he's done. But with Voltemade, it's kind of been a necessity because they are lacking in that position. And I thought it was so important, Rory, that he got off to a scoring start in his debut. I just think that moment for a striker to have that in front of your own fans and announce yourself in that kind of way and have a brilliant game really for about an hour and then come off. It's just what he would have been dreaming of, isn't it? And it's just going to be interesting to see how he gets on away from home. It's obviously not the most intimidating ground in the world at Bournemouth, but I'm just looking forward to seeing how he gets on.
Do you think he's obviously Newcastle tried to sign a lot of centre forwards before deciding that Voltemade was the one? You went through an awful lot and were turned down by an awful lot. Are you now happy with what you've got?
Yeah, I think when the thing that kind of sells it, and it's quite funny because I think their owner came out and started to say, "Oh, no, we never really wanted him anyway." But this is a player who was chased by Bayern, and Bayern went in for him a few times and didn't get him, and Newcastle saw that opportunity and then managed to get him. Look, he's much rawer than some of the targets they were going for, and maybe Eddie Howe wanted someone who was going to be Premier League proven and more of a finished article. But I think the fact that he'll be able to, when he's back fit, lean on the services of Johan Wissa as well. I think that's going to be really important, and it will just allow him a bit of time to get used to the league and hopefully show what he can do. Now, who needs a performance for you, Rory, this weekend?
I mean, I think there's a lot of players, but really the player that I'm looking forward to seeing in terms of this, if Everton are to have any luck, the player that needs a performance is Jack Grealish. Like, the only way that Everton get anything out of the game is if Jack Grealish really does shine. And he is capable. He really is. He's such a good player. I love Grealish. And seeing him in this kind of form, with a smile on his face, delivering, idolised by the fans already, it's a joy to behold. I think he's such a good player, Jack Grealish. I think that he should be 100% part of Thomas Tuchel's plans going into the World Cup. And it's just lovely to see him playing football with a smile on his face. If he plays well, and I think this is true in any circumstance, if Jack Grealish has a good game, there's a major, major chance that his team win the game.
Do you think? Really?
Jack Grealish is a match winner. He is a difference maker.
But also, he loves that spotlight. There's so many of his managers talked about the fact that, when you put him into that kind of arena, when you put him into situations when there is pressure on him, and a manager like David Moyes is giving him the freedom to play how he is and express himself, then you're right, he can be a match winner. So he's certainly going to be one that Liverpool really need to think. If he starts the game well, Everton certainly have a chance. I think.
From Arne Slot's perspective, the entire team talk is how do you stop Jack Grealish, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you nullify Jack Grealish, you probably nullify Everton. That's how important he is. That's how brilliant he is. But I'm looking forward to seeing Jack Grealish. And I just like seeing him play at the moment because he seems so happy. What about you? Who do you believe needs a performance this weekend?
So I've gone for Viktor Gyökeres in the game between Arsenal and Manchester City. Now, obviously, Gyökeres so far, 3 goals in 4 games in the league. Not a bad start at all. But when you look at who he's scored the goals against, obviously it was Leeds, and so he's kind of done well against the sides where you'd expect him to do well. But obviously they've had the game against Liverpool where he didn't really make an impact. I don't necessarily think it was his fault entirely. I think that the players in behind him weren't necessarily giving him the service that he requires. They're still building up those kind of relationships. But I think to score in a big game against a team like Manchester City in such an important game for the title race, that will be a proper moment when he announces himself as the man and as the real deal and as a man that could take Arsenal all the way in this title race. So I just think it's the magnitude of the game that's important for Gyökeres here. And also I think Man City are a team that can be got at.
Yeah.
So it's not inconceivable that he does get on the score sheet.
This is the point of the signing, isn't it? I think, when people are talking about the Gyökeres signing, they're saying that he's actually, people maybe suggest that he's a bully and he's going to score big goals against Leeds, but where will he be against when you need him to shine in the biggest of moments? I actually don't agree that it's about the smaller games. I think that it's about being a difference maker when they need a difference maker. Whether that's against Brentford or whether that's against Manchester City, it's kind of irrelevant. It's when they need a difference maker. And I think that if he has a good game, if he shines in a fixture like this, it will go a long way to justifying the signing.
Because I tell you something, and it hurts me to say it, but as a Newcastle fan, I can tell you right now that someone who will turn up in big games is Alexander Isak. He has done it for Newcastle on numerous occasions, and so a game like this he wouldn't fear it. And I think if Gyökeres can get off the mark in terms of scoring in one of those big games, then it could be huge for him, I think. Let's get an update from the WSL. Spurs taking on Manchester City. How's it looking? Ian Abrahams.
Still Spurs 0, City 3. We're inside the last 20 minutes, and Buddy Shaw had a penalty save. They've just seen the goalkeeper, I think, just tip a header of hers onto the crossbar, and it's come away. The goalkeeper Kopp has also made a really good save from Vivian Miedemar since the penalty miss. At the other end, Spurs have tried everything. They've brought on different strikers, but nothing really is working for them tonight. So it looks like their 100% record is going to disappear here with a defeat to Manchester City. Latest score up at Goodison Park in the other game, which of course is taking place between Everton and the London City Lionesses. It's now Everton 0, London City Lionesses 2. Izzy Goodwin has both of them, so the promoted side look like they're on course for their first win of the season. But here it's Spurs 0, City 3.
Moose, thanks very much indeed. By the way, the second half of Middlesbrough 1, West Brom 0 is about to get underway on talkSPORT 2, so you can download the talkSPORT app, swipe between the stations if you want to hear the second half of that game. Next, though, here we're going to look ahead to the rest of the Premier League games this weekend, and we'll get Rory's take on those Enzo Maresca quotes.
Hamilton, now at Ferrari, dares to dream of a record 8th F1 world title. The Tifosi will be hoping the Brits can bring glory back to Italy. To many, Ferrari and Formula One are inseparable. They're the only team in the sport today to have competed in the first World Championship in 1950, are the most successful team in history, and have built some absolutely gorgeous cars. Their first driver's title was won in 1952 by Alberto Ascari. Considered one of F1's most dominant and best-loved champions, he drove the iconic Ferrari 500 and defended his title the year after. It was Juan Manuel Fangio in his Ferrari 250 who secured the team's next driver's title in 1956. Remember, he was world champion 5 times with 4 different teams. Mike Hawthorne, Phil Hill and John Surtees also won titles for Ferrari in the 50s and 60s, and the cars back then were beautiful, and they even sounded great, didn't they? Anyway, Ferrari went 11 years without winning a title until Niki Lauda won in 1975 in the iconic 312T. Throughout much of the 80s and 90s, though, Ferrari looked like they'd never go all the way again. Le Professeur Alain Prost came pretty close in 1990, but lost out to his bitter rival and former teammate at McLaren, Ayrton Senna. It was only when John Todt recruited a swathe of staff from outside of Italy, including Michael Schumacher, that the glory days returned 21 years after their last driver's title. The turn of the century saw the prancing horse sprint to an unprecedented 5 consecutive championship doubles. And after Schumacher left, Kimi Räikkönen reclaimed the driver's title immediately. But despite employing 1,500 people, the Iceman remains the last
Thomas Frank's first game in Europe's premier club competition as a manager ends in victory.
This is exciting. This is an exciting setup from Spurs.
He's fixing the main problem what Tottenham had. So he's gone in there and gone, we're going to be better defensively first and foremost, which is exactly what he should do.
Try really to focus on ourselves. For the fans, they should dream, they should hope, all that. That's what football is all about.
This is Thank Football. It's Friday here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Rory Jennings. Hope you're having a brilliant Friday evening so far. We're building up to all of the Premier League action this weekend. And Rory, I mean, it's been a good start for Thomas Frank at Tottenham. They're away at Brighton on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. And other than that blip against Bournemouth, it's been pretty good, hasn't it? A good win against West Ham. And actually, I know football doesn't work like this, but that win against Man City was so impressive. I mean, they do seem to have City's number, Spurs, whoever the manager is, which is quite interesting. But if you swap those results, do you know what I mean? And you said, look, they lost away at Man City. It's been a decent start for Spurs.
It's been incredibly impressive, but not that surprising. Like as far as I'm concerned, with regard to Tottenham, they were a joke of a club last year. They got everything wrong last year, and I know that they can paper over the cracks, and they did make history winning in Bilbao in the way that they did. But they had a joke of a manager at the helm, and that's why it went so wrong. It was a pitiful season, and you can paint it and dress it up any way you like, but it was a pitiful season. This year, they're a force. This year, they're a serious football club. And the reason they're a serious football club is because they've appointed a serious manager. Everything that Tottenham have done since they won that trophy in Bilbao has been spot on. Sacking Postecoglou, it was the brave and correct decision. Bringing in Thomas Frank, it was the brave and correct decision. Then the workings in the transfer market. Xavi Simons, excellent signing. Palhinha, such an astute signing. Keeping hold of Christian Romero, making him captain. I think everything that they did in the transfer market, in fact, the entire conduct of Tottenham Hotspur, and I say this with no relish at all, but I think that since they won in Spain, they've almost had like a redefinition of the club. They cast the moniker, the ideology of Spursism. When you win a European trophy, beating the great Man United in the final, Spursy doesn't apply to you anymore. So they got rid of that, and it's like they're never looking back.
I think what's been impressive about Frank as well is that if you include the Super Cup against PSG, out of the 6 games he's had so far, 4 clean sheets. And I think what he's done is he's gone in there and as we might have expected, he's just focused on making sure they are defensively solid. He's made sure that they are effective from set pieces. I mean, you had Ange for most of the time that he was in charge saying, "Yeah, set pieces don't really bother me," even though they kept conceding from them and weren't necessarily that threatening from them. They've got some really decent players who can be effective from set pieces as well. And actually, because of Ange's tactics, we may be slept on how good they can be as a defensive unit and how solid they can be. When you think about, Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero at the back, because they were being stretched so badly because of the tactics that Ange stubbornly employed for most of the time that he was in charge. Now that Frank's come in, you forget that they've got a pretty solid back four, and they've got decent fullbacks, Jed Spence and Destiny Udogie as well. So he's got a base to work with there too.
He's absolutely. There's some very good players at the club, no doubt. There's always been very good players at the club. They just weren't made to look particularly good because Ange Postecoglou had no system and no understanding of how to get the best performances out of their best players. Coaxing performance out of players is the responsibility of a manager, and invariably Ange Postecoglou failed in that task. Thomas Frank is a proper manager. He's a really good manager. And I think that Tottenham have finally got it right. It pains me to say this, but I think that Tottenham have got it right now. And I imagine that the club are going to go from strength to strength. It was no surprise to see them start the season the way they did. It was no surprise to see them win in Europe against Villarreal. It was no surprise to see them put in an excellent performance, although it ended in defeat against Paris Saint-Germain, because I think the club are actually now in a really good state.
I think that this season, 5th or 6th, is definitely achievable for Spurs. And
Which is a huge elevation considering where they finished last year.
Absolutely. Is there even the chance that they could break into that top 4 as well? Could they usurp potentially a Chelsea by the end of this campaign, given the quality of the squad?
They possibly could, but I think that in itself is insignificant, isn't it? Finishing in the top 5 and qualifying for the Champions League is what matters. And I think the other thing that Tottenham would love to do, and I'm sure that most Tottenham fans would agree with this, if they can qualify for the Champions League again, job done. But if they can marry Champions League qualification up with silverware, back-to-back seasons with silverware, any sort of silverware, by the way, anything, League Cup. I think people are very sneery to the League Cup. It would be a massive season for them.
Yeah.
And painfully, again, I feel like they can. They're a really good team, Tottenham, aren't they? When you look at them and you look at the way they're set up, and then you think about who they've got in the dugout, you think about the brilliance of Thomas Frank, the way that he can almost redeploy his team in 4 different ways in the same game, like 4 different formations in the same.
It was the perfect tonic to what was going on with Ange, an adaptive manager. And actually, as well, we talk about the way that he can improve players. And even look at someone like Richarlison as well. Even at the start of this campaign,
hardly a surprise.
Richarlison, I'm sorry, but he wasn't finished at Tottenham. But
it was over. It was over.
And yet he's come out and looked a completely different beast in that Super Cup, and then backed up with a few good performances.
But Ollie, look what they did, and this is why it was such an intelligent thing to do. And sometimes in football, it's a really simple game. You sack the manager, who is a proven failure in the Premier League, and you appoint the manager that is a proven success in the Premier League. 2 and 2 makes a Christmas cake, doesn't it? Like, you do the obvious thing. The manager that was a woeful Premier League manager, Ange Postecoglou, you sack him and you bring in the manager that was proven to be an excellent Premier League manager. It's the opposite of what Nottingham Forest have done. Nottingham Forest sacked the proven excellent Premier League manager and appointed the failure Premier League manager.
Yeah.
And now they're struggling.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a bit more as well, actually, in just a moment. But first, just want to chat a bit more about your Chelsea, because there's been some interesting comments from the manager. The PFA contacted Chelsea over the treatment of Raheem Sterling and Axel Disasi's training regime. We saw a post from Raheem Sterling as well about the fact that he was basically training alone. And Maresca was speaking about this today. Didn't have a lot of sympathy for his unwanted players.
I've been in Raheem's situation and Axel's situation as a player, and for sure I know that it's not the best feeling for a player, because if you are a player, that means that you want to train and play a game. But then, for different reason, the situation is the situation that is in this moment, and I know that the club is giving them the opportunity to work in the right way. And this is the only thing I can say. My father is 75 years old, and for 50 years, he has been fisherman, working for 2 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning. This is hard in life, not a player the way they work.
Interesting comments there from Enzo Maresca. Just before I get your thoughts, Rory, there's been another goal in the WSL in the game between Spurs and Manchester City. Ian Abrahams.
5 minutes to go. Spurs 0, Manchester City 4. Nicolai down the left-hand side made good progress inside the penalty area, and when she put it in low, the cutback was swept home by Grace Clinton, who used to play for Spurs. She was on loan a couple of seasons ago for Tottenham from Manchester United. The other game at Goodison is getting interesting into the closing stages. Everton have scored a penalty, so it's Everton 1, London City Lionesses 2 up there. Here, though, it's all over. Spurs 0, Manchester City 4 with 5 minutes to go.
Rory, obviously the standout from those quotes from Maresca was about his father being a fisherman and the hard graft that he's put in his life, and Maresca comparing it to the likes of Sterling and Disasi. What was your reaction to those comments?
Well, listen, Ollie, I'm as woke as the next man. I really am. I'm as in touch with my feelings as the next man. But all these kind of footballers have feelings. I don't really understand where it's coming from. Like, I'm inclined to agree with Enzo Maresca here. I think Maresca is correct. Like, if Raheem Sterling really wanted to sort of protect his mental health and wanted to play football and not train with the reserves, take a pay cut. Take a pay cut on the £325,000 a week that you earn at Chelsea. Go and earn £100,000 a week and play football week in, week out. The opportunity.
Is there though the argument that there does need to be a bit of a duty of care? I mean, if the PFA are contacting Chelsea,
No, I don't believe that. No, I don't, and I'm sure that I'll be lambasted for not being in touch with my feelings enough. But of course I don't think that Raheem Sterling needs some sort of mental support on £325,000 a week when he has to go and train. Anybody that tries to draw parallels between a normal real job and a footballer, suggesting that you wouldn't treat if I had to go to work at times when I was forced to sit on my own or whatever, it's completely different. You are judged in a completely different way if you're a footballer. Listen, we've spoken on this show about Raheem Sterling in the past, in the very recent past, and I've said that Raheem Sterling is an icon of Premier League football. Raheem Sterling will be in the Hall of Fame the second that he retires. In fact, I would say every single Chelsea player, when they finish their career, won't have anywhere near the silverware and trophy hall that Raheem Sterling has. I love Sterling. He's from my part of the world. He's from St. Raf's Estate. Like, really is my neck of the woods. I love him. I really do. I rate him so highly. But I'm not worried about his mental health because he's not playing in the first team. Like, what are we talking about?
Do you think it's completely fair for Maresca to kind of conflate those two situations, though, as well, when he's kind of talking about his dad? Because I do get your point, but at the same time, in Raheem Sterling's world, which is obviously completely different to what Maresca's dad's going through, it's going to be taxing for him.
If Raheem Sterling's mental health is suffering because he needs to play football, he has the opportunity to go and play football. He had the opportunity. Raheem Sterling could have played for basically anyone if he was ready to accept £100,000 a week. He wasn't ready to accept that, and I don't think he should be, by the way. I think Raheem Sterling is totally fair enough for him to sit tight on his wages. I'm not suggesting that he's done the wrong thing. Earn your money, but there is a consequence to earning £325,000 a week. The consequence is that maybe you train late at night and maybe you don't train with the main squad. You knew that there was jeopardy around your place in the team. You chose to stay at Chelsea. And fair play. But the consequence is that you have now, you basically won't play any football.
03717 22 3344 if you want to have your say on that. There's been another goal in the WSL. Spurs against City. Here's Ian Abrahams.
Consolation for Spurs. Spurs 1, Manchester City 4. Olivia Holt from 25 yards out. Looked like it might have taken a deflection because the goalkeeper Keating was absolutely rooted to her line, but it hasn't taken a deflection. She maybe just didn't see it properly. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Spurs 1, Manchester City 4, a couple of minutes to go.
Moose, thanks very much indeed. In just a moment here on Thank Football, it's Friday on talkSPORT. We're going to be rounding off our Premier League previews.
Swansea 3, Nottingham Forest 2, and Postecoglou is going to have to wait for that first win as Forest boss.
It's not a good look when you're out at the first time of asking, having been 2-0 up to a Championship side in Swansea.
Exactly the same Ange now. He's back. He had one moment where he was laughing and joking, and now he's back to how he was. Honestly, if I was a Forest fan, I'd be petrified of what's coming my way.
Yeah, no, very disappointing. Great opportunity to progress to the next round of the Cup, and we should have really we allowed them to get back in the game.
This is Thank Football. It's Friday here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink, alongside Rory Jennings. Hope you're having a brilliant Friday evening. By the way, in the game over on talkSPORT 2, it is now Middlesbrough 2, West Bromwich Albion nil. Nil. We've got 25 minutes to go in that game, so you can hear the closing stages over on talkSPORT 2. Brilliant for your goddaughter, by the way.
Buzzing for her.
Mascot at the game today. That's
Buzzing
fantastic.
for her.
So, yeah, Middlesbrough in control in that game. Plenty more Premier League action that we haven't even had a sniff at yet, Rory. So many good games this weekend. A second league game in charge for Ange Postecoglou with Forest. They're away at Burnley. Now, it was a tricky first game away at the Emirates, but then in midweek, Swansea in the Cup looked like they were absolutely cruising, and then found a way to lose that game. I'll be honest, I just do not understand this appointment. It just feels like there's a personal relationship with Marinakis and Postecoglou, and that Postecoglou has benefited from it, because I just cannot see how an owner, even though he won that trophy, kind of looked at the league form of Spurs last season and decided that would be a good fit for a club like Forest.
Ollie, even if you factor in the fact that Tottenham won that European trophy, and anybody that's ever heard me talk about football before will know quite how highly I rate that trophy. I don't like people who sneer at any silverware, and sneering at European silverware, I don't understand it at all. Some of the best nights of my life, like winning in Amsterdam against Benfica when we ended up winning that trophy, is one of the best nights of my life. Beating Arsenal in Baku, that trophy, one of the best nights of my life. So I rate that trophy highly. But even Tottenham fans will tell you that they were lucky on the way, playing Bodo Glimt in a semi-final. It doesn't do justice to the abomination of the season. And what they've done at Forest, it makes no sense to me. They've got rid of a proven, beyond any reasonable doubt, proven Premier League manager. Nuno Espirito Santo had Wolverhampton Wanderers at one point flying. At one point, I thought Wolverhampton Wanderers were going to win a European trophy, by the way. They were a really good side at points. He had Nottingham Forest, a tonic last year. They were a great side. And he's a proven good manager. They have appointed a proven failure of a manager. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. How worried do you think Forest fans should be?
Really worried.
Given the fact that they've got European football as well.
Yeah,
how worried?
I put it this way. If I was a Leeds fan, if I was a Burnley fan, if I was a Sunderland fan, any fan of a club that could potentially be relegated, this manoeuvre by Mr. Marinakis is fantastic news. If you're a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan and you're fearing relegation, you are looking for three sides to fill those relegation slots, aren't you? You're trying to think, right, who are the three sides worse than us? Or who are the three sides that can make a pig's ear of their season? Forest now.
Yeah, Forest now in that conversation, potentially. There's been another goal, and it's full time in the WSL. Spurs against Manchester City. How's it ended up? Ian Abrahams.
Well, last week I went to a game that ended 5-1 to the away team. The same happened tonight. Spurs 1, Manchester City 5. For Juno into the top corner from 20 yards midway through the first half. Vivian Miedemar added a second. Kaspari before half-time made it 3-0 to City. Grace Clinton on her debut against her former club made it 4. Holt's wonderful goal from 25 yards, a mere consolation for Spurs before Laura Coombs, 5 minutes into 6 of added on time, put the icing on the cake and made it 5-1 to Manchester City. Now they're into the closing stages up at Goodison, but at the moment it's Everton 1, London City Lionesses 2. That would be a first win for London City Lionesses and move them off the bottom of the table. West Ham would then prop up everybody else. But it finished here at Brisbane Road. Spurs 1, Manchester City 5.
Moose, thanks very much indeed. Another game I want to chat to you about, Rory. Bournemouth against Newcastle United. My Newcastle United, of course. I'm going to be there on Sunday for talkSPORT. I think the weird thing with Newcastle, I was saying this to producer Ollie, who's also a Newcastle fan as well. It was so strange. At the start of last season, Newcastle were playing really bad football, but they were winning games. You flip it on its head this time around, because I actually think so far, for the most part, the performances have been good, but they actually only have one win on the board. There's loads of mitigating circumstances for that, and one of them is obviously the fact that they didn't have a recognised striker for a couple of those games as well. But this feels big, I think, especially because Eddie Howe hasn't beaten Bournemouth in the league since he's been Newcastle manager, and they're coming up against a side who I think have made a flying start this season. They challenged Liverpool really well. They got that win at Tottenham too. They've beaten Brighton in their last game. Semenyo's a player who's looking on form. And off the back of a game against Barcelona that would have been really taxing, it's a tricky game. It's a tricky tie for Newcastle to have, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah, it's also very difficult, I think, for Newcastle, and for everybody, but especially for a club like Newcastle, who are relatively new to the arduous nature of marrying up Premier League football with Champions League football. Off the back of such a gruelling game in midweek, I feel like Newcastle United will always be more likely to drop points off the back of European football. If you're playing Newcastle United, you always want to be playing them off the back of them playing in Europe. And you had a draining game against
on a
Barcelona.
Thursday as well.
A draining game, both emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also, do you know what? We're having a serious conversation today about managers, aren't we? We're speaking a lot about managers. Andoni Iraola is the governor.
Yeah.
He's capable of finding a way to beat anybody. So yeah, I think it's a really tough fixture for you.
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
you think you get through it?
I'm going to go with a draw. What's? Give me a score prediction for that one.
I think Bournemouth beat you.
Really?
I think he's a main man. I think they beat you 2-1.
Really? I'm going to go 1-1 for that one. I think that hoodoo might continue for Eddie Howe. Very impressive win if they do manage to get that one over the line. Sunderland take on Aston Villa. Talk about playing teams at the right time. Aston Villa, it's been a shocking start. Not a single league goal.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Yeah. Do you know, a lot of the time in football, regardless of how correct I am, I have opinions. I believe what I believe is this. With regard to what's happened at Aston Villa, I honestly don't know, because I will always celebrate Unai Emery. I rate Unai Emery so highly. I think he's a class act. I think he's a brilliant manager. He was doing brilliant things at Aston Villa, and yet it went a little bit stale for them last year. If it could have just finished on a high note, if they'd got that victory against Manchester United at Old Trafford, it could have been a very different story over the summer. But I don't know what's gone wrong.
The only thing is, I mean, I've chatted to a couple of Arsenal fans, and they made the point that a few times in Emery's career, he gets to the end of a cycle, if you want. And when you look at the summer that they've had, and obviously that they've been restricted by PSR and everything with that, but they also rolled the dice a bit last season by getting Rashford in. And it didn't quite pay off, and Asensio, and it didn't quite pay off because they missed out on the final day of the season. They didn't get Champions League football, which would have done wonders in terms of their financial kind of situation. And for me, I think the thing that would worry me if I was a Villa fan is, do you think Emery seems comfortable at the moment? He's got spiky in interviews. We had the Bizot, one that was all a bit bizarre. He just doesn't seem that same kind of calm figure who feels in control of everything. Nope. He seems flustered.
I agree with every word you said, Ollie, but I'd actually take it one step further. At what point do we have to have very awkward and uncomfortable conversations about Unai Emery's future at Aston Villa? I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe I'm saying that. If we were sitting here a year ago, I would have been saying how Unai Emery is the third or fourth best manager in the league. Aston Villa have got a jewel there, somebody that they need to protect, somebody that they need to cater towards. It's getting to the stage now where you think this is unsustainable. Like, he's got to turn this around. Like, they look unambitious. They look leaderless. I've heard some troubling interviews. I think John McGinn was speaking. It all felt a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
So if they don't get a result very soon, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they're going to have to start thinking about
score a goal in the league, mate. They haven't even scored a goal yet. A shocking start for them and a good chance for Sunderland, I think, that, especially at home. Right, we're going to get some quick score predictions for the next one. The Battle of West London, the two biggest clubs in West London, Fulham against Brentford, Saturday, 8 o'clock kickoff. Score prediction for that?
Fulham against Brentford. 2-0.
It's the Harry Wilson derby, isn't it? I think Fulham will be a bit. They'll be G'd up because they beat Leeds last week, and they made a new sign.
They can sing songs together about how much they hate Chelsea.
Yeah,
they can really bond.
No, they hate each other though. There's real animosity there.
Real animosity, mate. It's like River Plate Boca. You should see it. Celtic Rangers of West London.
Cheese boards just flying across the away end. West Ham against Crystal Palace. Score prediction for that?
Palace beat them. Palace beat West Ham. Potter's on his last legs, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he actually could be as well. I mean, I think a lot is riding on that result, and I think.
Do you know when I get things wrong? And I totally understand this.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
But when I get things wrong, people like to make TikToks about it, and they tell me how poor it is, and it lives forever, and people constantly bring up the Haaland prediction.
Not that you care about it.
I was so right about the Potter on the day that West Ham United announced Graham Potter. I said, what are they thinking? He could not be further from what West Ham United need. Couldn't be further from the archetypal West Ham United manager. The job would eat him alive, is the way that I phrased it on the day that he got the job. Was I right or was I right, Clink?
Yeah, like a broken clock, mate. Absolutely brilliant. What a prediction from you there. Finally, Wolves against Leeds. What are you thinking for that one?
6
That's
pointer.
a big game.
Real
That
6 pointer.
That is a huge game.
Do you know what? I want Leeds to stay up. I know that sounds weird coming from a Chelsea fan, but I do want Leeds to stay up, but they just don't have enough goals in the team. Like, where are the goals coming from? And I rate Vitor Pereira. I think Wolves will nick it, you know?
Oh, but they've been poor so far this season, mate.
Pereira's
They've been
good manager.
really, really poor. So, yeah, really big game down at the bottom of the table. Right up next, we're going to be looking ahead to the EFL this weekend on talkSPORT. Oh, mate, I'm back in universe in Ibiza. Did I tell you I went to Ibiza?
I don't care.
Weekend? Do you not see my tan?
No, I certainly didn't see your tan. I know you were on holiday. You've been the first man to have ever been on holiday.
I've got the blues. I've got the blues, mate.
It is a banger, to be fair.
So good. It was so good.
But you aren't the first man to have ever been on holiday, you know?
Yeah. But it's a big occasion for me, mate.
Oh, really?
You know, I'm always in here just doing, I never go on holiday.
I love that
It's a big thing for me.
Do you think your boss is listening? Are you trying to demonstrate that you have this Lutheran work ethic? That you're trying to show the world? Oh, I'm always in here. No, you're not.
No, I'm just trying to sound like a normal person. Oh, my word. Right, we're going to get the latest in terms of the EFL in just a moment. This is Thank Football. It's Friday on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I've just been on holiday alongside Rory Jennings. I can tell you over on talkSPORT 2 at the moment, it's Middlesbrough 2, West Brom 0. West Brom have brought on Josh Madger to see if they can salvage something from that game. But you can listen to the closing stages over on talkSPORT 2. I'm delighted to say, though, joining us now is Justin Peach from the Second Tier podcast. Justin, how you doing?
Yep, all good. Thanks, gents. How are we?
Yeah, really, really good. Thank you. We'll start with the huge game that's live and exclusive on talkSPORT 2 tomorrow. Leicester host Coventry. Coventry's made a flying start to the season. There's only 1 point that's separating the two sides. It's an interesting one, this. How do you see it going?
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I think what you've got with Leicester here is they've found ways to just get points in games. They finished with 10 men against Oxford, got the point, found a way to win against Charlton. They're doing it. But with Coventry this season, they are posting some serious numbers. Not only are they the top scorers in the Championship this season, but they are flying well ahead of opposition in terms of taking shots, creating XG, creating big chances. They are flying ahead. It's going to be an interesting one. It's obviously a derby. Leicester Coventry fans really do dislike each other. That's putting it politely. But for me, I think with Leicester just finding their way in games and just grinding things out, I can see them nicking it. I really can, despite Coventry looking really, really good.
12:30 kickoff for that one. It was a late equaliser, wasn't it, for Coventry in that game against Norwich as well. But interesting to hear that you think it is Leicester. It's almost a bit like the way Liverpool have started the season in the Premier League, where they've maybe not played their best, but they found a way to win. talkSPORT also have exclusive coverage of Sheffield United against Charlton at 3:00. I mean, it's been an absolute disaster so far, hasn't it, for the Blades? Chris Wilder back in the job, third tenure in charge. What can we expect from this one, do you think?
a big atmosphere at Bramall Lane. I think that's the biggest thing you can expect. It's such an interesting one. Obviously, it has been a disastrous start to the season. It was a summer of self-sabotage, really, from Sheffield United with the removing of Chris Wilder, despite hitting 90 points last season. I know they lost in the playoff final, but with that, they clearly going in one direction, and ultimately they found themselves bottom of the table. It's been crazy, but I think with Chris Wilder coming back, he's been speaking very highly in midweek, and he's come across incredibly well, very humble, which is always a good sign. But also he's identified the strengths of the squad, which I don't think many people will be too aware of because of how poor they've been. There are good players at Sheffield United still, and that's it really goes without saying. But with this, I think a week ago I'd have put a lot of money on Charlton to win this game, but with Sheffield United and Chris Wilder coming back, despite the difference in form and obviously confidence with both sides, Chris Wilder, the impact that he can have on a team, especially Sheffield United, it just sways it massively in their favour.
Yeah, no doubt. There's also a massive game on Sunday. You've got third place Bristol City playing third from bottom Oxford. Who do you think is more important? Who needs to win most out of those two sides?
Well, it's definitely Oxford, because they're currently winless in the league, aren't they? And with the result last week, obviously they took Leicester, a fairly long way, played relatively well, but they're yet to really get going. And I'm a big Gary Rowett fan. I really do rate him, but I felt like he wasn't really backed in the summer. I felt like they needed a few more signings, and he didn't get it. So I think Oxford definitely do need the 3 points. But with Bristol City, they are flying under Gerhard Struber. They really, really are. They are so exciting, and they are incredibly clinical as well. They're a scary side to be playing against, and with this, you've got Oxford who like to sit deep, whereas Bristol City, they'll push you as high as they can and get in your faces. And I think with that, when you're winless and you don't have a lot of confidence, that's not going to be a nice experience.
Yeah, it's really impressive, aren't they, Bristol City? And given it was a big summer of change, obviously Liam Manning leaving as well. I mean, you couldn't really have asked for much more so far from their season. Got to ask you about Wrexham, 4 points from their first 5 games. I was actually at their first win of the season against Millwall as well, and it feels like they're starting to adjust to life in the second tier.
Yes and no. I think with that Millwall win, they were hammered. They were hammered. It was one of those. It was one of those results that they got away with it a little bit. But you take them, especially away at Millwall. But with Wrexham at the moment, defensively they are an absolute shambles. I mean, I'm not going to throw him under the bus, although I am. Connor Cody last week looked like he had rocks and issues. He just looked slow, and QPR really exploited that, and that's a big worry for me with Wrexham. Their defensive record, they're conceding a lot of goals, but the amount of chances they're conceding, it really is scary. But also they're very wasteful. Weirdly, they're one of the most creative teams in the division. They are creating a lot of chances, but they're not putting them away. And you've got the likes of Nathan Broadhead to come into the team, so that might improve a little bit. But form-wise and habits, if you like, you want to create good habits at this stage of the season. It's relegation stuff from my point of view, but it's not to say it can't be improved, because we know they spent a lot of money. They've got good players.
Any particular game caught your eye from the Championship? If there's one fixture this weekend that you're really looking forward to, what is it?
It's Birmingham-Swansea. The reason why is Birmingham have got this ridiculous unbeaten home record that stretches all the way back to April 2024. And they're coming up against a Swansea team who have looked very, very good in recent games. It feels like Alan Sheehan's really starting to get a really nice blend going. And obviously they had that dramatic win against Forest in midweek where Ange Postecoglou looked shell-shocked. And yes, it's the Championship side, so we get too many plaudits. But the way Swansea got themselves back into the game and some of the football they played, it felt like the Swansea of old, which is nice. And obviously they're going up against a Birmingham team who've not scored since the end of August, and it's not that long ago. But there is a bit of pressure brewing. Obviously, Chris Davis is yet to find the balance of his best team, and I think with fan expectation growing a little bit, that might be starting to play into it a little bit. So this is certainly the most intriguing one, and I do fancy Swansea for this.
Justin, top man, thanks very much, mate.
Always a pleasure.
There we go, Justin Peach there from the Second Tier podcast. Right, in just a moment here on talkSPORT. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. We are looking ahead to the Ryder Cup, which takes place next weekend. Oh, you do make me laugh. This is Thank Football. It's Friday here on talkSPORT with me, Olly Clink. I'm alongside Rory Jennings. Adam Catterall will be on from 10 o'clock here with the Sports Bar Weekender. First, though, we're going to chat a bit of golf because it's not long until the Ryder Cup starts. And by the way, the latest golf video is out now on the new talkSPORT Golf YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, there's some brilliant stuff on there. This time around, Jamie O'Hara goes head-to-head with his old gaffer, Dean Saunders.
It's all about the shaft, though, for me.
Well, the best way to describe it, it's the best shop you've ever been in your life. And it is. Drive for show, putt for dough. It's a disgrace. See that? He drove over my ball, eh? Not hard enough.
Sums him up, that does. Always short.
See in the trees there? Don't be giving it rabbit scrapings. So I'm just going to hit this up the right with a bit of Dennis Law, and it'll go something like this. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
It's up the middle.
That's right.
Oh, those two. Brilliant watch on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. What you got to do, make sure, get it in the hole. That's the key to golf.
What about Jamie? It's all about a shot.
Yeah, it's a shambles in the bushes again. Ridiculous. Head over now to the new talkSPORT Golf channel on YouTube. See who comes out on top. Plus, there's an exclusive giveaway for 2 lucky subscribers too. So watch the video for all of the details. Like I mentioned, though, very exciting golf on the way next weekend. The 2025 Ryder Cup tees off from Bethpage Black in New York. Joining us now to look ahead to it is Hugo Schomburg, talkSPORT Golf reporter. Hugo, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm glad Jamie and Dean haven't been picked for Team Europe. I'd be doing a lot worse if they had.
Yeah, can you imagine has anyone seen from Jason Cundy if they were playing for Europe and O'Hara bottles it on the final hole? It would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? If we chat about this Ryder Cup, obviously Europe winning in Rome 2 years ago. If we look at the US team, what kind of changes has Zach Johnson made now he's on home soil to try and win it back?
Yeah, so Zach Johnson was ousted as captain after Rome, unsurprisingly after what was a real disaster in the team room, out on the course. They arrived, they said they were jet-lagged because they hadn't got there in time. There was infighting about whether the players were going to get paid or not. They are now getting paid. But there's also been, Keegan Bradley is now the US captain, having not made the team. He's decided not to pick himself as a playing captain, which was one of the big stories going in to this Ryder Cup. There's changes in the US playing team as well. Ben Griffin's a young up-and-comer who's been picked. Russell Henley wasn't in the side last time. JJ Spawn. These are all players who people who aren't watching the PGA Tour week in, week out may not know the names of, but they're good players, they're strong players, and at home out in New York with the rabid fans out there, it's going to be a tough test for Team Europe and Luke Donald's men.
I'll continue in just a moment, Hugo. I just want to let you know, though, over on talkSPORT 2, it's now Middlesbrough 2, West Brom 1. They are in the dying minutes of injury time. So West Brom searching for an equaliser. You can hear those final few moments over on talkSPORT 2. I mean, obviously, it is back on US soil. I mean, how important, we know how fired up some of the players get, but how important do you think that, having the home crowd in New York is going to be for Team USA?
I think it's going to be enormous, to be honest. A home side hasn't lost a Ryder Cup since back in 2012 at the Miracle of Medina, which Luke Donald, the European captain, had played. I mean, what an occasion that was. But if you think of an American venue for a Ryder Cup, and particularly if you're not the biggest fan of sort of American, Yankee Doodle, Stars and Stripes, red flares, rocket flyovers, it's going to be all of that turned up to 11. Donald Trump's coming on Friday. It really is going to be, it's $750 a day to get in. So I'm not sure how many of the sort of blue-collar American fans are going to be there. But the fans have been warned to make it a hostile atmosphere for Team Europe coming into this. And I think they're going to do exactly that. I think it's going to be a really tough environment. But this is undoubtedly the European team who've got the best chance of winning overseas since 2012. So Luke Donald will be feeling as confident as he can be.
Well, it's going to be an amazing spectacle, really. I'll be in attendance. Team Europe, they're losers, really.
So, God, how many impressions have I fit into this little bit now? Is that 3 now?
That's all right.
I'll do you in a minute.
You're good at them. So
I'll do you in a minute.
Don't do me. You can't do me.
You hate it, though.
Make a pig's ear of me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Obviously, when we look at the course as well, Hugo, it's notoriously, very demanding, the layout of Bethpage Black. So, I mean, how do you see that course set up playing into the hands of either team?
Yeah, when you step onto the first tee at Bethpage Black, there's a sign that says, warning, dangerous, only highly skilled golfers should play this course. So for mere mortals going out there, it really is a tough test. For these players, I mean, they're used to playing the hardest golf courses in the world. It'll be interesting to see how the golf course is set up. Traditionally, the US have been the bombers and Europe have been the sort of more accurate players who pop it down the fairway with an iron. I think as more Europeans have got on the US tour and are hitting the ball further, I mean, you look at Rory McIlroy, some of the Scandinavian guys, Ludwig coming through, they hit the ball an absolute mile. So, I mean, the home team set up the course, so they'll be deciding how thick the rough is, how wide the fairways are. They'll have a few tricks up their sleeve, the Americans. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Europeans cope with a course that the Americans will know more about than they will, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I really can't wait for it. Hugo, can I put you on the spot and ask you for a prediction? Who do you think is going to win ultimately?
It's a classic head says America, heart says Europe. I think we're going to know on the first day. We're going to know on the first morning. Last time, the Americans were hugely favoured going to Rome, and Europe went 4-up in that first session. 4-0, they won the first session, and they cruised it from there. If the same thing happens on the American front, I don't think Europe are coming back from losing a first session 3-1 or 4-0. But if they come out and they take that first session, I think the Americans are going to be on the back foot. And if there's one thing rabid New Yorker fans will do, they'll turn on their own team. And that could be key. You know, if Europe get their tails up early doors, the American fans won't like it. And, you know, that could be all she wrote. I think if you're asking me to pick one side or the other, I'd probably say the USA would sneak it. But that's just based on the last sort of 15 years of, apart from the miracle at Medina, we have seen the home side just get the job done over and over again.
Hugo, absolute pleasure. Thanks very much and enjoy it.
Cheers, lads.
There we go. Hugo Schomburg. He's going to be out watching that for talkSPORT, and he covers the PGA Tour for us as well. But he'll be in New York next week for the Ryder Cup. Very much looking forward to that. Right, to end the show, Rory, shall I hand over as you? I think I should probably.
You can't do an impression of me.
No, I'm going to do it though. Even though you don't think I can do it, I'm going to do it.
You try, and everybody listening will tell you that you can't do it.
Okay, so it's been an absolute pleasure, by the way. Thanks so much. It's been great.
It's been great.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah. Anyway.
See?
Anyway, coming up next, thank you so much for your delightful company here on talkSPORT. It's the Sports Bar Weekender with Adam Catterall and Carlton Cole.
Useless.